Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Morning Market Movers. Yes, we are changing the name of the episode. It is now Morning Market Movers. It is Monday, October 11th, and this is where we will discuss hotspots in the markets for today, where we do some live analysis for day trading, what's moving in the markets, and uh, yeah, we got a little bit of a slower start, but we have a guest appearance right there.
Yep, the
Look
little
at
guy's
little
here.
Kip. Look at
Yep.
him and look at that head of hair.
He
Once again, congratulations, Mazel Tov to the Caprice family. That is super awesome. And
mm,
right now, he's behaving. I hope he does
he's
that
he's
his
yeah,
whole
he's
life.
hungry. He's looking for mom, but there you go. He looks so much like me, right? He's darker than me. He's got more hair than me.
Spitting
I'm kidding.
image.
Yeah, yeah, he's doing well. He's doing really well. Sleeping not horribly bad. So it's if any new parents or parents out there, how the first 4 days are, and we're still trying to get used to it. And Jin is so far doing great, although she wants to be like the mega big sister, where she's like, I want to hold him. I want to hold him. And meanwhile, the boys are just like, no, we're not interested. We don't want to hurt him because he's so tiny. So he's actually, it's crazy. I have 4 kids, guys. If you didn't know, he's the heaviest at birth, but I feel like he's the shortest. Even with the twins were long. They were just really, they were lightweight. But yeah, so it's been fun. But Top was like, you can miss. I was like, no, come on today. We'll see how it goes. And you know how it is. Perfect timing. Mom walks out the door to drop Jen at daycare, and then he's like, I'm ready to eat. I want to eat, and I can't help him. So
Just give him a ham sandwich.
yeah, that's the next step. I want to see if he likes coffee. That's the next step.
Oh, that would be a good one. Feed him some
Yeah,
coffee. Yeah, and then
I know. Yeah.
I
So
love
if you guys suddenly hear me go quiet, it's just because I muted it, so you guys didn't have to hear him. So that's all.
Nah, we want to hear him. All
He's
right.
he's growing.
Well, Well, before Brian and I jump into hotspots in the markets for today, I do need to share this disclaimer that trading involves risk. It may not be appropriate for everyone, that any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. And this is an educational session. Please do not construe anything Brian or I say as a buy or sell recommendation. We're doing this for your education purposes. So, what are we looking at? There are some hotspots in the markets today that we do need to discuss. The first of which is going to be energy. I mean, look at this Nat Gas chart. This Nat Gas chart. I don't know why that was such a difficult things for me to say. Uh, Nat Gas. I mean, it had been taking off. I mean, and here we are this morning. I mean, it's dropped 50 cents. It is bottoming out. If we did the Fibonacci retracement, it actually blew through the levels that we saw late last week, and it went down and touched levels that we saw back in September. But nat gas is definitely a hot spot. The other thing that we're seeing is oil. Oil was off. It touched overnight. It went over $82 a barrel and is pulling back a little bit this morning. I think both of these are creating some trading opportunity. We're also going to jump over to the Japanese yen. The yen is seeing weakness out of some comments out of the Bank of Japan. And then lastly, equities were looking to open a little weak, but they're catching a little bit of a bid right now. Still looking in the red, but not nearly down as much. In fact, uh, I would actually go so far as to say, someplace around unchanged or slightly mixed. So, Brian, let's go ahead. I'm going to flip this over to you, and let's talk about energies. Then we'll go to the yen, and then we'll take a quick peek at equities before we call today, and let you go find some
Yeah,
food
mom.
for
Yeah,
Kip.
mom just pulled back up. She'll be running in here in 2 seconds to get him.
Oh, another guest
Um,
appearance. I like it.
yeah, she's everybody's joining today. So I would say in the overnight, typically, the first thing to do Monday morning is to always kind of look at kind of what's moved in the overnight. Right now, nothing besides the yen. It's basically the yen pairs. You can see the pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar CAD. None of them really have any bit of movement whatsoever in them. Dollar yen, pound yen, euro yen, Aussie yen, all big movement. And again, that news came out of the BOJ because she basically said that there's no plans to change financial income tax for now. Over the weekend, we did get some news that there is now the global tax. Everybody approved it, but the reality is that's really not going to change too much. It's great that everybody is on equal footing, but you can still give subsidies and everything else to make it not equal footing. So it's not really. It's one of those things that on paper sounds amazing, sounds great, but the reality of it is, Kip says he doesn't believe it either. So he's not falling for it. But so that's one of the things. And then Yellen's made some comments too about they're confident Congress will raise debt levels, and so there's been a bunch of things. But as far as oil goes, really just energies in general. Oil is it's kind of doing its typical Monday. Oh, hold on one sec, guys. Hand him off to mom. There we go.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Tell her
she's
we say
taking off.
congratulations.
I will definitely. So the other thing is too, he's like a heat rock. It's like amazing. He doesn't have a fever, but like you hold this little bundle and he just radiates heat. It's crazy.
That's because
Um,
he's growing.
yeah, yeah, he eats a lot. Trust me. But anyway, you can see that price, and let me make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see it. Oil's doing its typical, and again, I'll move the blue out of the way just for a second so you can see how low it came to. Literally right now, is oil is exactly where it started with the European Open. This is kind of a trend that we've seen where we have kind of UK traders kind of taking advantage of the market, and then right before the US trader gets in, it's like, no, 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 we weren't being bad, I promise, and they brought it right back down again. So it is kind of interesting to see where it is, and it pulled back again, a very very fast move. And today, its typical kind of reversal is about 5, 6 o'clock. Today it was at 7:30 figure. So again, it was really kind of a here come the U.S. traders. Let's go back down again. So we're holding. Natural gas has had a little bit more violent of a move. When I say a little bit more violent, I mean it's quite
You mean a
violent.
lot of it?
Yeah, just a little bit, right? But 538 was a level that we had talked about last week. You know, if you scroll out a little bit on the 30-minute chart, you can see that we had some basing. It hit here, got quite, hit two other times, and then we've kind of pushed down. So the question for me that I'm thinking right now is, one, do I call the guy today to fill up the tank before it goes higher? I did get an email this weekend that says, "Hey, we haven't heard from you. We're getting worried." I'm like, "Yeah, you know why?" um, but again, a really, really fast movement in price to the downside like this, you're thinking there's got to be some type of a retracement. There's no news today. Right now, there's nothing that says, Putin decided to, slash oil, slash natural gas prices coming across the headlines. So this is probably more of a reactionary move down. It's probably trying to find an area to kind of pop back up again, as much as I don't like to say that. But that's typically what happens when you have this much movement this fast. And again, typically the way that just charts in general work, for something like a commodity, you tend not to have a big push to the downside because you're always going to use it. It's one of those things that they use a lot of it. You tend to have more spikes that are like legitimate, real, justified spikes up because if it comes in, it's like, oh my god, it's going to be, I don't know, 30 degrees colder tomorrow than today. That'll send things up. But even if they found extra supply, all that means is it may just take a little bit longer to use it, but they are going to use it. So
And if you drop to a 15-minute chart, you'll see it's actually trying to catch a bit of a bounce right now.
I'm delayed a little bit, so
Oh,
yeah. I mean, I can see that it's
hang
pulling
on.
back a little bit right now based off of the
Yeah,
candle,
no.
but yeah.
So there we go. I mean, this is on Nadex
Yeah.
where you've got the real-time charts going. So
Yeah.
yeah, you can see that it actually did retrace down to I mean, it came all the way back. I mean, Fibonacci's kind of rather interesting from highs down to lows. It came back, touched it, and now it's just kind of bouncing off of it just a little bit as buyers are stepping in, expecting to
And
catch a floor at some point. But who
and
knows?
here's where I would look at this and say, okay, is it due for reversal? When I'm looking at the daily ATR, it's about 40 cents. When I drop it down to a 30-minute and measure just this move, it just happens to be 42 cents. So
Right.
that's one daily ATR worth of movement in 1 hour. So again, perfect candidate for a parabolic retracement move. Um, it's there. No trade recommendations out of it. But again, if you're
Yeah.
getting a confirmation entry to the top side, that tends not to be a bad place to get into it. Again, because of the fast movement, you're probably going to have a harder time finding binaries because it drove all the way through. But this is where you go across and look at call spreads and maybe even a knockout. A
Yeah.
Monday knockout is not a bad way to do it because you have a longer duration. So just some options out there for you guys.
All right, and quick, you know what? While you move over to the yen, I'm just going to take a quick peek at the knockouts just for fun, very quickly. Jumping over to the commodities, jump into Nat Gas, click on any one of these, and is there a knockout down here? Um, yeah, I mean the top knockout. I mean, if it was I mean, you would have to make a determination on uh, risk reward. It's still a bit of ways. I mean, away from the floor for a stop loss. But again, then maybe you need to check out those call spreads. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the yen. I want to keep moving along here because we still have a lot more to
Yeah,
cover.
pound yen's probably the easiest one to take it in there because that's one we've been covering the most. The first time we have any level is sitting up here at 54.89. So they're all about the same. It really doesn't matter which one we're going in. I'd say that we're probably gonna have a little bit of sticking point around this 154.50-ish range just because of the 50 in there, but it's only gonna move about another 30 pips. So, again, there's actually a small zone right there, and that just happens to be what we're bouncing off of. So at this point, this one will basically be taken over by the U.S. markets, and we'll see how they go. Remember, pound yen, yen is the proxy for basically the U.S. stock indices, particularly the Dow. So, right now where it's going is looking pretty good. We're seeing a lot of, we're seeing weakness in the yen, and again, all this comes from those comments about not raising. Again, kind of the same thinking. This move from, really from it's on a 4 hour. It's like, wait a second, let me go back to here. Starting Yeah, you can see since the European session started, we had a little pullback and then a drive forward. This has really been a story from last night. And if we measure from last night till now, that's about 157 pips. If you look at this on the daily, you can see that the daily ATR is about 118. So same thing, we're beyond what its average is per day. So again, another one of those candidates for somewhat of a reversal level. But right now, it's not going to be a pound story. It's going to be a yen story. So I think equities are going to be important to look at.
All right,
Um,
let's go ahead. Yeah, let's jump over and take a look at what we got going on in the equities. I know the
yeah,
Nasdaq is down a little bit. Dow, I think, is roughly flat.
yeah. I would say the first thing to look at is the VIX, because again, the VIX tends to give us kind of somewhat of a foreshadow. There was a bit of a gap from Friday into today, and again, it's the weekend. You kind of expect that. The way that you're looking at the candles right now on a 30, and again, we normally look at these on a 15. You can see it's definitely an area where we've had some sellers up top inside of the VIX. Now, it was a level that we did have prior basing at right there, so it's not a surprising area. And again, we know that those buyers or those sellers will eventually be gone. Now it's starting to break back to the downside, and again, it's Monday morning. The world hasn't ended. Merck put in for their special new COVID pill, which could be game changing. I don't know if you guys heard of that or not. They've gotten great things, great data back again. Basically, it's an antiviral pill that you take when you get COVID, and it reduces hospitalizations, deaths, and everything else by like over 60 or 70%. So it'd be kind of like if you guys remember, like Tamiflu a couple years ago was really popular, where
Right.
if you got the flu, you got your diagnosis and you took Tamiflu, it shortened the duration of symptoms for the flu by like 70%. So instead of having the flu for like a week or 10 days,
You
you
just
had it
had to
for
get
two.
it. You had to take it within a certain
Yeah,
window
within the first
of
2 days
when
of
you
basically
actually
having
got
symptoms.
infected. Right.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
can't
and
take
that made a difference. Yeah, but if you took it right, basically you had the flu for like a day, and that was it. Day and a half, and then you were done with it. This is very, very similar. So instead of people, and the only treatments that are currently doing this right now are IV and intravenous medications, but Merck's pill form that you could take from home actually had better data. So they've asked for emergency kind of approval. We could hear it says a few weeks, but the biggest issue we have right now that we're hearing, and again, they're talking about, oh, we're having surges in the ER and nurses are leaving because the vaccination situation, and we're overwhelmed. And again, I was just in a hospital, so I can tell you how many people were in there. Um, but not, reducing hospitalizations by 50% by being able to take a pill that a doctor could give you in an office, that's game changing.
Yeah.
That's really, really game changing. That could be what it takes to really kind of get ahead. Where it's like, oh, you have it, take this pill. 70% chance you're not going to the hospital, and you're not. If you're not going to the hospital, you're the death. Just, it was even crazier. So that could be a big a big plus. So having this gap, look at this, putting in low highs again. This could bring us VIX right back down again. All the indices right now are about flat minus the NQ. But this could actually give us, this could be the perk that that we need today to start off Monday on a green note. It hasn't been, it has been great. Here's what we saw last week, right? We had that non-farm data coming down, um, gave us that initial spike up, our base, and we dropped back down that parabolic move. And then same thing, we've kind of stabilized, and there'll be, there'll be channel drawlers that are like this, going, yeah, we're channeling, we're going to the downside, which is fine. It makes sense. You can see we got a little bit of a rally now in the last, let me bring this down to 15.
Last
Um,
15, 30 minutes.
yeah, about last 30 minutes, and that's the same thing we've seen in the VIX. So the VIX is actually showing us kind of where we've been. Could it push back down again? Sure, a little bit, but again, is there really any news out there right now that's going to be extremely detrimental? I don't think so. YM kind of the same thing. YM is actually even more flat. It's hard for me to
Right.
make YM look ugly. And again, we bounced from last week. Russell, same thing. Again, Russell was actually since 6:30 this morning has been rallying up. And remember, Russell tends to be the first one to go. So Russell's in the move. And NQ, again, it's been going up since about 8 o'clock this morning. It's always had a little bit rougher of a road. I will say from last week, if you look at that non-farm payroll number on Friday, remember we talked about that 15,000 mark? There's the 15,000 mark.
There, yeah, got real close
There
to
was
it.
your
So,
non-farm payroll spike up and then kind of push back down.
yep.
I will say, I did just see data a little while ago that talked about our capitalization. It was an article actually about inflation, and they said it's here, it sucks, but you could profit from it, and then that's where like the grab is. But when you go in there, they were talking about how um, there you go. I lost my train of thought already on that one with the inflation thing. Oh, the utilization rate, the labor force, or I'm sorry, not utilization, participation rate
Participation rate.
is lower than what the forecast was as well. That's
Yeah.
not necessarily a great sign. And we saw on Friday we saw the unemployment rate go down. And remember, we've been warning you guys that that's not necessarily an important factor to look at anymore. Why? Because remember, people that have been out of the workforce for a year are no longer included
They're
in
not
that
even
number.
looking. And that was actually pretty clear. Oddly enough, it actually ties back to what to the virus is just there's just still a lot of people who are listen. I'm not going back until I feel safe.
Yep.
So that the lingering effects of the pandemic continue on,
Mm-hmm.
and I get it. I absolutely
Yep.
get it. No one wants to put their life at risk.
Yep.
So
And
yeah, that
I think the
participation rate.
participation rate only came in at 61%. So only
Yeah,
61% of the capable, able-bodied. I don't think if you've ever claimed
are
disability, I
even
don't think you
looking.
fall into there. Only 61%.
Yep.
So
All right. Well, that's a lot to be looking at for a Monday. I want to say welcome back to Brian. Love to have you back, and congratulations again to the Caprice family. Uh, any questions for Nadex? Please email us customerservice@nadex.com. Any uh, any questions for Brian or some congratulations to them? You can email Brian
I
at
won't be just
support.
FYI. If you guys do send questions in this week, I won't be doing. I won't be answering emails this week. I'm kind of taking a partial. I'm only going to do Nadex presentations as well as tomorrow's kind of breakdown. So it will be a little bit longer of a delay this week if you guys message me.
He'll get back to you. He will get back to you. Support at keeptradingsimple.com. And you know, just a quick recap. Hot spots in the markets today. Clearly, the energy sector. We saw natural gas absolutely bottoming out. We see oil moving around. In the foreign exchange space, the yen seeing weakness following comments out of the Bank of Japan, and then equities. Wait to see how retail traders are going to digest some of the information and step into the week when they get into the markets in 27 minutes. With
Mm.
that, also, I want to wish everyone a happy Indigenous Peoples Day in the US or a happy Thanksgiving in Canada. Uh,
It's a federal
or
holiday in Canada today. They do. There's a joke I have with my wife. Canada just takes our holidays and just makes them sooner. So
or Columbus Day if you want to call it Columbus Day.
yeah.
I'll spread it all
Nobody
around.
says that anymore. Nobody says that anymore, you know? But I will say, on a positive note, again, all joking aside, Wawa does have their turkey bowls back again. So if you're getting your turkey fix with your cranberry and your stuffing,
There we
Wawa's
go.
got them. I saw them this
That's
weekend. I was like,
funny.
oh, I missed it.
So
Just like
yeah,
the
well,
McRib.
the Columbus thing. I mean, I think he was an incredible, awesome dude. He didn't invent America though.
No, no, no. He wasn't even the first to find it. But how do you get credit for that? I
Well,
don't know.
from the other side of the planet, there were people
Yeah, yeah.
here,
Yeah,
for a
it's
long
flat,
time
Todd.
before
It's
that.
flat. It's on just the other side, right? It's flat.
Yeah, people all around the globe know that the world is flat.
Yeah. And wait,
I love
is
that line.
today? I think. Wait, William Shatner goes to space today too, right? I think he was delayed
Oh, look at
yesterday.
that!
I think. Yep, he gets on the Bezos rocket today. It was supposed to be yesterday, but there was
Nice,
high winds, so they pushed it. So
Captain
I think he
Kirk.
finally gets to go to space today. I think. Most
What do you
positive.
mean finally? Because Captain Kirk has been in space
I
for a
know,
long
right?
time.
I was gonna. You know what's funny?
Boldly
I was
going
gonna search.
where no man has ever gone before.
I was gonna search it just to confirm that because I saw it yesterday, and again, my days are all confused. I was gonna type Captain Kirk space. That's or Captain Kirk Bezos is what I was gonna punch into Google. So obviously, my coffee is
It'll
not
show
powerful
up.
enough this morning. So
All right. We had a little bit of fun here this morning. With that, thank you everyone for joining us. We will catch you again tomorrow morning for Morning Market Movers. Good luck in the markets, everyone.